Okay, breaking news coming in on the back of the big Delhi declaration at the G20 summit headed by India. UK Prime Minister Rishi Sunak has just announced a record climate aid commitment as the G20 in India concludes. The UK, he says, will provide $2 billion to the Green Climate Fund, the biggest single funding commitment that the United Kingdom has made to help the world tackle climate change. $2 billion commitment to the Green Climate Fund. I want to bring Gaurav Sawant in on this. Gaurav, rapid action being taken by members of the G20 on the back of the Delhi declaration. This is very heartening to see that first big announcement coming from Rishi Sunak.
This is a major announcement being made by the British Prime Minister Rishi Sunak. $2 billion is what he's committed, and he's also given a breakup. He said that UK continues to show global climate leadership, and they're having cut their emissions faster than any of the G7 countries. He says their financial commitment is also the maximum that any G7 country may have made, and this was at a gathering of the G20 leaders in India that concludes today. The British Prime Minister announced UK's biggest single financial contribution to helping the world's most vulnerable people adapt to and mitigate the impact of climate change. In fact, Shiv, you'd recall this had been one of India's principal demands, that the developed countries, the Western countries, needed to do much more, not just in terms of financial commitment, and financial commitment was a big thing, so that developing countries did not have to pay for all the sins of the developed countries in modernization and industrialization. And this is a big announcement being made by the British Prime Minister, Shiv.
Okay, very, very important piece of breaking news that Gaurav is bringing to us at this point of time. $2 billion as a commitment. It's the largest ever that's been committed for the Green Climate Fund. It's a record commitment. Also, sources telling India today that Khalistani concerns about the Khalistani extremism in the United Kingdom were raised with the UK Prime Minister by Prime Minister Modi during their bilateral yesterday. Prime Minister definitely raised concerns when sovereignty of countries are impinged upon. Gaurav just brought that to us. Very, very important, Gaurav, in light of the fact that there's a pull aside that Prime Minister Modi will be holding with the Canadian Prime Minister shortly, the diametric opposite kind of effect from the British Prime Minister. He's very receptive. He's even spoken out saying there's no room for extremism. This was raised with him yesterday.
Shiv, the images are there for the world to see. You're absolutely right. The British Prime Minister has assured Prime Minister Narendra Modi that there is no space, there is no place for extremism in today's day and age. Extremism of any kind will not be tolerated, and that is why Britain will take action against the Khalistani extremists. Britain has assured India that security of our diplomats and security of Indian installations, the Indian High Commission in London, is of paramount importance, and they will ensure adequate security is provided. Shiv, you'd recall, after the Indian High Commission was targeted the first time, India had taken up the matter very strongly with the British, and the second time when the Khalistanis threatened to target the Indian mission, there was adequate deployment of security. And India has made one thing very clear to all countries, whether it's Canada or the United Kingdom, Germany, Italy or Australia, that there is no place. This is not freedom of expression. A tableau in Canada, for example, showing the assassination of late Indira Gandhi, former Prime Minister of India, that cannot be passed off as freedom of expression. That is terrorism and must be dealt with as such. It remains to be seen how Canada responds to India's concerns.
Okay, very interesting. We'll leave it there for the moment. We're still waiting on that, on the pull aside that the Prime Minister will be holding with the Canadian Prime Minister. But as Gaurav has just broken it down for us, Prime Minister Modi has specifically raised India's concern on Khalistani extremism in the United Kingdom. Rishi Sunak spoke about it when he landed in India, where he said there is no room for extremism of any kind, and that he and the Indian government are working together to crack down on it. So a very clear message being sent, and this is a relationship that takes things in perfect alignment. India and UK government at this time on the same page as far as Khalistani elements are concerned.